Yep. All right. So, hey guys, this is Matt, and I don't really make these YouTube videos about movies a lot. Probably not gonna make more of these, but I've had this idea in my head a while, and I just thought like let's just get it out on, like, just get it out so that some people can see it, maybe agree with me, disagree with me, but um, this is just my interpretation on what makes movies interesting. And basically I know that movies are so different in so many different ways that it's so difficult to compare them with each other. But this is just kind of a framework that I'm using in my head to compare these movies. So I just want to start off with Infinity War and just talk about Avengers Endgame rather. And what I saw was just this huge battle with like so many characters on both sides. But to be honest, I was like incredibly bored. I didn't care. It's not like the stakes weren't there. I mean, you're talking about, bringing back half of all life forms in the universe. That's pretty much a huge stake. But to me, I didn't give a shit. I don't care. I'm like, what, whatever. So to me, bigger isn't always better, and I'll explain why. So I think that movies can be epic, yes, but what's the point? There has to be a point to all of it, and and there's also this idea of quantity, like how big it is, how many characters are in it. I think it's not so important as the quality of the ideas that are being shown on the screen, the quality of the relationship between the characters, what these characters stand for, how they are defined. So this is just my idea of what makes movies interesting. So I've divided it into two categories, which is the macro and the micro. So we have like the macro drama, which is kind of like a clash of ideologies and the effects that it has on society. We'll explore that in more detail later. And as I've said, the micro, it's down to the level of the individual or maybe a small group of people, of characters. And it's like, who are these characters? What is their motivation? Why do they do the things they do? What do they believe in? What is the relationships that they have with each other? And what are the key ideas that these characters want to tell the viewer or tell each other? And how do they express it? So I think that there are two movies that do this macro thing really, really well. I just want to talk about these movies. I know X Men is not an MCU, just give it a rest. I'm just talking about comic movies in general. But I think Black Panther and X Men First Class did a very good job on this. So, just real quick, Black Panther, we look at T'Challa and we look at Eric Killmonger. And T'Challa he says, like, he's the new king of Wakanda, and his father, all his predecessors were like, Wakanda should remain closed and hidden, and that's how it's always been done. That's how we prosper and we grew all this time because we remain hidden. And Killmonger is like, that's not right. How could you just ignore whatever's happening in the other countries in Africa? You should reveal yourself. You should take part in the world. You have all these resources, and that's a clash of ideology. And throughout the whole film, these two characters fight, but there's also like this ideological conflict. And in the end, even though Killmonger dies, but his ideology wins because T'Challa actually says like, this guy has a point, and he does go ahead and open up Wakanda. So I thought that that was something that just tied through the entire of the movie. And you do see other characters commenting on this ideology and reacting to it. It's like, oh yes, should we, like, is there, like, weighing the pros and cons, and just chipping in with their own ideas about whether or not it should remain closed and or open. So I really like it. So we have in X Men First Class, we have Charles and Eric, and who is Professor X and Magneto, and this conflict is gonna last like several decades, and it's basically the backbone of the entire X Men series. So whether or not it is explicitly stated, um, it is pretty much these two conflicting ideals. Should mutants live in peace with humans, or mutants are superior to humans? There will always be war if the mutants don't rise up and just become rule over the humans will go and hunt down the mutants. So there is no such thing as peace. So it's just this conflict, and I just specifically chose X-Men First Class because it does explicitly say that this is the conflict between the characters, and it's so deeply embedded within the characters that that's what each side stands for. You have Charles Xavier's school of gifted children, and you have the Magneto's group of mutants. I'm not a brotherhood of mutants, I think. Yeah, but so I think this is very clearly stated, and it's very simple, easy to grasp. I really like it. That's what makes it interesting. So here we have two movies. I think it could have been done better. It could really, really have been done better. So first of all, Infinity War. I really like Thanos. I mean, like this dude, like Infinity War Thanos. He didn't become like the greatest meme of that year for no good reason. He's not your ordinary villain. He said, this Malthusian theory that the population is gonna keep growing exponentially. Eventually, it's going to outstrip the resources, and basically everyone's gonna starve, and the only way to stop that is to halve the world's population, and therefore there will be no starvation. Therefore, he is the savior of the world, and blah blah blah. So I like that that Thanos, like, this idea is clearly stated, and he does. There is this whole backstory of how he brings in equality into it, and like, oh, it's completely random, and everyone is equal. It's totally by chance, and I'm separating Gamora's, like, her planet, and saying I separated the population completely randomly and just eliminated half the population, and he did that manually, and he was like going from galaxy to galaxy, planet to planet, like just manually doing all of that, and he just wants to like make life easier, but like just snapping and doing that just like save himself some time, but he really just saw himself as the good guy in this case. So what I didn't like was that there was no real counter to that. All I heard from the side of the good guys, the Avengers, and the Guardians of the Galaxy, is just, we must stop him. Like, there's just no there's nothing. There's no like, oh, why didn't you double the resources in the world? Why don't you do something else? There's nothing that directly counteracts his point, and that is my criticism of that. And maybe not even some characters saying, oh, maybe I empathize with what he's saying, and maybe I empathize, but that's the wrong way to do it. And it's just, it's somewhat there, but it could have been a lot better. And instead, just by saying we're gonna stop him, it just makes it very generic on the part of the heroes. So the next one, I thought, okay, Civil War. So from what I understand, there was some conflict, and there was this thing called the Sovokian Accords, and they were supposed to have like some like increased accountability for these heroes, or these vigilantes, or whatever you want to call them. And something there was disagreement, and then the next thing then this is happening because Bucky killed Iron Man's parents. Or I have to be really honest, I have no idea how this relates to this Sokovian Accords. I have no idea what they are doing in this airport. I have no idea what each of the characters think about it, or why they are fighting. I have no idea, because, and that's just I don't know, it's just a pity, because I do think that this idea of having accountability for these heroes, it is an interesting question to talk about, but it's just glanced over so quickly, and by the next movie you just totally forgot about all of this, and like, does it even matter? And I don't know, I just thought it had a good premise, but I don't know. So I just don't know what's going on. Like, if real quick, can you just pause the video and ask and just let me just think to yourself, who are the villains? What is their ideology, and how does their ideology have an effect on society? Like, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? So just pause the video and have a think about it, cause I don't know. All right, so um, first of all, the villain in the first movie is Loki. I didn't. I totally forgot about it. Um, and then I had to look it up. So yes, it's Loki. Why is he doing what he's doing? I don't know. Because he is a trickster. I just don't know. What is the effects that he has on society? I don't know, because I don't even know his freaking ideology. Maybe he just did it for the lols. I'm just gonna, summon a shit ton of aliens onto Manhattan for the lols. I don't know. Next one, we have Ultron. Ultron was created by Tony Stark accidentally when he created some kind of AI. Suddenly he just hates Tony Stark, wants to take over the world. Why? I don't know. What did he see on the internet? What made him so angry? I don't know. I just don't know. And because I don't know what he's thinking, I also don't know what the heroes are thinking, other than let's stop this guy from taking over the world. It's literally just, you have a bad guy who's gonna do bad things and we have to stop him. Well, and the greatest disappointment is Thanos from Endgame. So Thanos from Infinity War was such a great character, but he's won. He's just done his own thing, just sitting in his hut, living the farmer scavenger life, and they just murdered him. Meanwhile, this guy is just like, I don't know his motivations. It's literally just become a one-dimensional villain, which is just such a downgrade. He's just saying, oh, well, you guys are ungrateful that the other version of me only wanted to kill half the universe, and now I'm just gonna kill everyone because you're also ungrateful. And like, what has that even got to do with like his predecessor, the other Thanos's Malthusian theory? It doesn't even make any sense. I don't see any ideology whatsoever. It's just, I felt nothing in these movies because I just don't understand what is going on. Um, so on the micro level, these are two movies which I thought that did a really really good job. Um, Far From Home, Logan. Uh, I know like some people may not like Far From Home, but just bear with me here. I think Captain America: The Winter Soldier is probably has a good micro story. I say probably because I haven't watched it, and therefore I don't want to give an opinion on something I didn't even watch. So feel free to just chip in, let me know how it fits into this. So, before I get into that, I just want to point out a few character moments which I felt was done really, really like badly. Like it just okay. Let's set up this scene. This scene is in Avengers Endgame, and it's the scene where Hawkeye and Natasha, they are discussing about or fighting over who gets to die, who should die, so that the other person gets the Soul Stone, so that they can bring back billions of people, and it's the whole idea is that the Soul Stone, like you are sacrificing. The word is sacrificing someone who means a lot to you, who you really dearly love, and so I actually felt more for Gamora and Thanos when Thanos he really looked like he was in pain, and Gamora, he's she's his daughter, and he just like looked like he was in so much pain, so much like agony when he was throwing her over, like murdering her, but he's like, he really loves her because she's his daughter. So and for I seriously don't know what is the relationship between Natasha and Clint. Like, I you may call me that, you can, maybe you can tell me, oh, this is their relationship, they really love each other, but let's just look at their last few dialogue between each other. So Clint is like, okay, I'm starting to think we mean different people here for the last 5 years, bring everyone back, okay, they need to bring people back, blah blah. Natasha is like, no, you should die, no, I should die, you should live, and Clint is like, no, I should die, you should live, blah blah. And they're still squabbling, and they're like, you should die, no, you should be the one who lives, blah 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 blah. It's just all this back and forth, and I'm like, and then after this exchange, she throws herself off the cliff, and then she dies. And I'm just like, okay, so why does he love her? I know he's married to someone else who later got snapped away, but I'm like, what is it? What is the key idea she's trying to tell him? That his life is worth more than hers because he has a family that will come back after they undo the snap? Like, what is going on? Why do they love each other so much? Why is their relationship so close that him losing her is so painful enough, so valuable? He lost something so valuable that it warrants him to get the soul stone. I just don't get it. And this is not like the first time we've seen these characters. Natasha and Clint, these are, the original of Avengers. These are part of the original Avengers, and losing Natasha is losing an original Avenger. So how can you tell me that after all of these movies, I still don't freaking know why they have this so-called bond with each other? What is it? What is it? What is the key idea? It's just, oh, I love you. Okay, so what? I don't get it. So, let's do a little contrast. This is a very, very well done character moment. This moment is something that people went wild in the cinemas. People went like freaking crazy. So what happened was that this is the moment where we finally get to see that, yes, indeed, Captain America, he can use Mjolnir. Excuse my pronunciation, but yes, he can use it, and he is indeed worthy. So it's a very cool callback to a few movies ago, Age of Ultron, where he's trying to lift it, and Thor is kind of like watching intently, being like, oh, can he lift it or not? Can he lift it or not? Is he worthy or not? And subsequently he breathes a sigh of relief when he's like, oh, okay, I'm the only one that's worthy, and Captain America isn't worthy because he didn't lift it. But in this scene it pays off, because like we see that yes, he is worthy. And Thor, he also he's a different person, because instead of being like, I feel like he's just kind of like a little bit nervous and insecure seeing Captain America almost lift it, but in this scene he rejoices with Captain America. So I thought it was a very cool moment. So I thought, yeah, it was really cool. Um, but yeah, moving on. Just looking at this, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I seriously think that Iron Man, even though the character is dead, Iron Man is a main character in Spider-Man Far From Home, because just look at the glasses. It says it all, like Edith, right? It says, even dead, I'm the hero, and this whole story revolves around this Iron Man character, because Peter Parker, it says it in the trailer. It says, people want me to be the next Iron Man, and his whole inner conflict is whether or not he can live up to that. So just sorry, I didn't say this, but I just want to say it again. Spider-Man Far From Home, I think, is a movie that does this conflict really, really well. This micro level drama, it does it really well, because they define the characters and their relationship with each other. So Peter Parker, Iron Man is like his mentor figure, his father figure, and he was like totally ripped apart when, like, he's just so agonized when Tony Stark passed away, or died in Infinity War, sorry, in Endgame. And so this whole movie is about him like struggling with his insecurities, trying to live up to him, trying to think, how can I be like him? Can I even carry this mantle? And conversely, you have Mysterio, or Quentin Beck, who is a former Stark employee, who sort of sees like Iron Man leaving as like, there's this power vacuum, like he's gone, so I can take his place, and I can get all this power, and become like the greatest hero, because Iron Man isn't here, and he can just do all these magic and flying around and just be the greatest hero. And he just tells Peter, is like, you're still a child, you can't do this, give me Edith, give me the power, you can't do this. So that's the there we have it. We have who, why, and relationships and the key ideas. It's very, very clearly defined, and it doesn't have to be difficult. It just needs to be clear. It just needs to be shown throughout the movie. It's just that's it, and that's really why I like Spider-Man: Far From Home. And what greater example is there than Logan? So, Logan, it takes place where in the X Men universe, and like I said, in the X Men universe, there is generally this macro, overarching trend of them talking about whether mutants should be living in peace with humans, or whether there will always be this conflict between mutants, Homo superior and Homo sapiens. Um, but this is one of the X Men movie where this is very much in the background, and I like it that way because for the rest of the movies, like that thing is just fun and center. I want something different. So, we have these three characters. We have Logan, we have Laura, we have a very old and just like at the end of his career, at the end of his life, Charles Xavier, and their relationship with each other is very, very interesting. We see the characters and evolve over a very long time because this is not the Wolverine that we saw in X-Men 1 like so many decades ago. This is not the Charles Xavier we saw in X-Men First Class, in X-Men 1, X-Men 2, and so on. So we have all this backstory, and we have Charles is the mentor or the father figure to Logan in a sense, and Logan is kind of like an unwilling, reluctant father figure to Laura, and through this whole journey of like trying to get Laura to Canada and like be safe and just bring her away, we see there's a lot of these character moments where basically Charles is trying to tell Logan about how it feels like to have a family, and now the X-Men are dead, but like Logan at the end is like, oh, he understands what it's like to sit down, have a meal with a family, and he says to Laura, um like this is what it feels like to have a family, or he says that to Charles, I'm not sure, but I really, really like it. And you can see in the grand scheme of things, is there a big bad guy trying to kill everyone to take over the universe? No. Is there well, you do have a government that's trying to take down the mutants, but it's very, very confined within like maybe just these three people. But within these three people, you can tell a great story. It's because you have this things that are really well defined, these key ideas, these relationships that are really well defined. So that's the gist of it. I feel that you need to have some kind of drama, something that is just well defined, a clear idea that just goes throughout the entire story. Uh, it's just something, and bigger isn't always better. You gotta have a point to everything that you're showing. You just don't have people randomly running around beating the shit out of each other. You need to have a point to all of that, and you can just take the time to develop the quality of your ideas, your relationships, the characters, and the relationships between the characters. You make it clear to the audience. Keep going back to these ideas, and that's how you can keep things fresh and interesting. And because otherwise it's just make things bigger, like what's the point anyway? Just let me know what you think. This is just my idea. I feel that this just I don't know, I just don't like it when movies just keep getting bigger and bigger and just losing sight of how to make it interesting. Because yeah, anyway, that's all from me, and talk to you guys next time, if there even is a next time. Bye.